My name is John Casey, and I am a producer from South Africa, for those of you that do not know. And yeah, thank you. As I was saying, it's always a pleasure working with DeFi. So I will be breaking down two songs today. Sorry if my fans get louder. The 16 inches are infamous for their loud fan speed because of the CPU that Intel wasn't able to process anyway. So I'll be breaking down two songs today. Also throw any questions in that you guys want at any certain times. I will be breaking down my second latest release, which is Kosher. I think that's my second latest on Quality Goods. And I will be breaking down a song that I dropped today, that dropped on Division, Noisea's experimental label imprint. It is a remix of Tech Genesis Raid, which dropped today, so you guys can get exclusive content straight into that because it dropped, not so long ago. Alrighty, so let's play through the song and you guys can check it out. Let me know if there is audio. So I'm going to carry on. Bear in mind, this is the pre-master. So a lot of the sharp end and everything that you see on the Spectrum Analyzer, I use FabFilter Pro Q3 because it has that lovely option of, well, I like the option of the way that it sticks and shows all the peaking frequencies and you can dial them in, which is amazing. Pro Q3 is amazing. Anyway, the reason you see all those sharp peaks and everything in frequency is because this is the pre-master. All of that was fixed in the post-processing mastering process. that is the song in a nutshell. All right. So, my Ableton template does not look like this. Is an older project. I update my template and everything a lot more often or frequently. Sorry, it's getting a bit cold. I update my template and stuff a lot frequently, but anyway, it's still a good template. I just change it every now and again. But this is, as you can see here, I have my main leads, my bass, kick, snare and clap, and percussions and sound effects. All right, I'll definitely get into the build. I'll work chronologically. So I'll start build, intro, build, drop, right? I'll go through everything. So I'm just giving you a broad understanding of how my workspace looks. So my main leads, I'll normally just throw everything that I want to on here, right? So I use Shaperbox by Cable Guys to sidechain, and I don't use this anymore, but it's still very good. You can really tailor in the way that you like your volume to duck whenever the kick comes in. And I just use that. I use this MIDI channel. See over here, this is connected to this. Whenever that comes in, I put it on the kick. Let me know if I'm going fast enough. If you guys, just let me know. So oh, my mind got a bit sidetracked there. It's like funny trying to keep up with the phone, and then so if I'm looking here, my attention is here. It's just my phone is there for the comments and stuff. So the only reason I don't prefer to use Volume Shaper right now or as of late is because when you do this, right, when you really dial it in,
make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer in every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
It has a lot of it tends to have that clipping sound. So if I play it for you, it doesn't have it now, fine, but it tends to go on basses. So I'll play it for you. This sort of smoothens it out so that every time the volume comes in, it doesn't have a little bit of a popping sound, because that popping sound, I know a lot of you guys would be familiar with that popping sound when you sidechain, especially with basses. So I'll show you my Shaperbox on this one. As you can see, it's rounded here, but if I really bring it in, you hear that popping sound is loud, and I really don't like that. So that's one reason why I've steered away from Volume Shaper, and I use either Kevin in the chat, the man himself, showed me Live 8 compressor, and that thing has no popping sound. If not that, then I will use King Shaper, which is Max for Life. But anyway, let me start from the beginning. So this is my arrangement: main leads, bass, kick, snare, percussion, sound effects. Sound effects is, background and everything, but relatively simple project. So what do I use for loudness metering? I don't really. I mean, I use either FabFilter Pro L2. I'll use just clipping on the end, but I'll just use Ableton's normal RMS level metering, and on the master. Nothing too crazy. But anyway, so the intro is just the regular sounds. And that is my vocal over there. Me saying this one's kosher. I actually just recorded this at home. I use a little, let me see. I have a little Zoom mic that I plug into my iPhone that I use every now and again at home. My dad has a nice little room where it's pretty soundproof, so I just go and record stuff in there. So that was me just saying. That's just me saying this one's kosher.
This one's kosher.
Yeah, that's just my vocal.
This one's kosher.
Yeah, just what is on gain? Oh, it's just the washout. Oh, here we go. I'm using an OTT. Thanks, Kevin. I'm using a little Alta Boy to adjust the pitch. OTT, audio effect rack, an EQ, sausage fattener, and a reverb again at the end. The sound that I used is, let me show you. I love that sound. I made a sound with Serum and just bounced it. So that's one. Okay, so it is this sound. I can add boy. Okay, so it is this sound. This is a sound that I made in Serum, and I bounced it out and I used audio. So I love using audio at the end of everything because you can get a lot more hands-on and gritty with the sounds. So let me open up that. So I'm just automating a bunch of different parameters. Like, yeah, we'll get into that. This is all that I'm automating. And the project itself looks like, I mean, the thing, Serum preset. I called it a crishy squeak because the sound reminds me of a Christian type sound. So this is an LFO and is controlling the level. I'm running FM from B with a basic this is not a square wave, it's something almost a square. I don't remember what that was called. Anyway, if you're sorry, I just blanked out there. I feel like a dumbass. But so this is, I am running a pterodactyl waveform, and the filter on it is a band reject pulse. Either I think it's a pulse wave. Yeah, Justin might be right. So without the filter, so it sounds pretty bland, but the band reject is doing a lot of the work. So you can see that what's automated is the resonance. So this resonance here, so if I mess around with it, re-enable that. So you guys can take a screenshot of this, and yeah, the effects are doing a lot of the work as well. Running a hyperdimension phaser, and the phaser is also automated by the LFO. A little bit of a compressor. Sorry. And then the flanger, the minus flanger, is doing most of the work. See, so it's the flanger doing a lot of the work. And I just put an envelope on it so that when it starts, it just goes whang, like here. As you can see, what I've done then, it's just a lot of effects, a lot of automating. And then the second LFO, is there something on the second LFO? It is. Oh, it's just the pan. It's very, very subtle. Second LFO is a slight adjustment that's very slow. It's 4 bars. Slight adjustment on the pan of the filter, which I feel like is very important because when you pan it left and right, it really widens it up in weird and wonky ways. And yeah, so just a lot of different automating, and then from that we have the bouncing out of the audio. Off. So that would sound like with just the body. So that's the, as you can see, I've just taken all that you've seen and just bounced it into audio. So it's just simple 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, so on the first one I have a Moog EQ. This is one of the most amazing airband EQs that you can find on the market. It really adds those like lovely air and high end to a sound. I'm gonna compare this to, I like somebody shouted. I'm gonna compare this to Slate Digital's Airband, same one I think. I'm gonna compare them. I just got it the other day. I don't know if anybody knows the difference between the two, but if there is a difference. But this one's nice. I've been using it for a while. And then Convolution Reverb is my best friend. This one is just to get those really big rises in between sounds. So if you listen, it goes, and that's just automating the volume of the large convolution reverb. This one is not on, not actually doing anything. Anyway, and that is also OTT'd, so it's really big. Running that through a saturator. Very subtle, just to add a little bit more grit. This convolution reverb is just for the atmosphere, as you can see, because it's just rising. That's pretty much all it's doing. And then an OTT over everything. OTT is my best friend ever, all the time. And then I'm just running a glue compressor and soft clipping it to make it louder. And then pretty much about it on the sound. And then there's a bottom layer that just makes it a little bit more wet at the bottom. And I'm running that through something called Spectral Blur, which is a Max for Live plugin that is, I can't remember where I bought it from, but it's basically just something you can use to make atmospheres, just to widen it up. I can show you how it sounds if it's full. So there's something called a halo, right? And that's what just makes it. I think it's the tail of it all. So this is with the halo like 0, which is how it is, and then with full. So it's just, as you can, yeah, it's just makes it really atmospheric. This is just me adjusting the tail. Re-enable. So the max, yeah, what up, Austin? The one that you're talking about is ml.distance. Is this one? So this is a Max for Live plugin that I use just to, it gives you a nice visual representation of where your sound is. Pan left, pan right, up front, at the back. It just dumps the volume, and yeah, it's called ml.distance. And I use this for panning and placement of sounds. But it's not in this project because I only recently found out about it. Anyway, getting back to the sound itself, they both sound like this together. So that spectral blur at the back, that's without, and this is with. Very subtle difference, but it just makes it a bit more wide and gives it sort of a tail at the back. I don't know how to explain it, but you guys figured it out. So that's what it is. That's the main lead. Now let's go on to the intricacies. I just looked in the mirror thinking I was talking to you guys. The intricacies, this is where a lot of the finer nitty-gritty details of, you know, the bounce and the swing of everything comes in when it comes to the leads. So this is, so if I play without the lead, it is. So that sound is just. So that's also some random sound I made. This is honestly just me messing around on Serum. I know everyone else can do that. This is just my method of messing. This is a wave table called Comb Your Hair. Don't know where that comes from. I don't know if it's native to Serum or if I imported it from somewhere else. But it's mostly the effects doing everything again. Hyperdimension, chorus, phaser, delay for that very robotic sound. Compressor as well. Yeah. I use FM from B a lot. I run the FM through B, and obviously the level of the oscillator B is not on because I don't want the levels to clash between oscillator A and oscillator B. Just, yeah, FM from B, which is doing a lot of the work. And if I play the sound just normally, just a random sound, and I'm just automating the LFO 3 rate. What is 3 connected? Wow, I'm surprising myself. So the rate, I'm just messing around. I connected it to the wavetable position of the first one. So you can see that that's making a difference. Do you use specific LFOs for specific purposes with your sounds? Not really. I think, can you elaborate a little bit more? I'm not too sure what you mean. Do I use specific LFOs for specific purposes? No, if I understand you correctly, I'll just use. Well, I normally just use. I go from 1 to 2 to 3 with the LFOs that I use, but I'll just mess around and throw them on whatever. Sometimes I'll just throw them on the level and then automate everything, or use effects and everything afterwards, and it'll just be one LFO. Other times I'll throw one LFO on 15 different parameters. Other times I'll throw one, and then with two I'll put on something else, and I'll change the BPM or the time or the rate of each, just messing around. Honestly, just messing around. So that's the sound, and that's just to add that bounce, as you heard. And this sound itself, I don't know what this is. CPU looking pretty snazzy. I'm glad I got this laptop. This is just a very simple square wave sound that's just being automated before this. The filter is being automated. Sorry, my English left me there. And it's same thing.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Same thing. Effects is what it is. That makes your sound dope. If your sound doesn't sound, if you're frustrated that it doesn't sound, too cool without effects and stuff yet, don't sweat it. We'll just add effects afterwards, and that's like the rest of the job. The flange is doing a lot of the work, so it's doing that. Ash is asking, what values do you produce? Do you take down levels if you notice redlining? I mean, before going into the master, as I assume you mix as you go. I do mix as I go. The values that I look for, the only thing, in all honesty, I'm not a boffin when it comes to RMS levels and everything. I'm just looking for those peaking levels, those sharp transients that come through when I'm pre-mastering. And I try to keep everything below -3 decibels, between -3 and -6. This is when I pre-master for labels and everything. And then you'll just compress and obviously bring in those highs and up those lows. That's pretty much about it. That's all I do when it comes to looking at levels. But it's all by ear for me, literally. I don't think there's, for me, too much of a formula. So those are the serum sounds, and this, hold on, there's a sweet little one that you can check out. So this is just, so it's just a bunch of those sounds. This one is where we get a little bit wonky. I love this sound. And that is, as you can see, square wave is my baby. FM from B is my other baby. You can see I've been using that a lot. And that is, you see, there's one LFO to 11 different parameters. And that's just messing around with the band reject, the levels of this oscillator, the levels of this oscillator, the warp position of this oscillator, the noise, drive of the distortion, the feedback of the delay, a little bit of the mix of the delay, frequency. It's just weird. It's getting really weird with the sounds, and that's where it comes in, just to add that wonkiness at the end. I love that sound. The next one, I'll get into that. Sorry. Sheesh, what is that one? Forgot. Okay, so that is the main sounds, and then you have everything in the background. So just vocals, OTT, and this is another one. These are just vocals. I love that kind of bounciness to it, so that's what adds that. This is I used just to get some higher frequencies in the back, just to get that specific sound that I wanted. I just put an analog and I put a sub and then a sine erosion on it, and then took out the low just to get. So that's there. I just use the spectrum analyzer just to see where it is on the spectrum, and then I up the volume. Then I have to do a distortion, a chorus, and a compressor. Another OTT. So you can hear. It seems like it doesn't make a big difference, but it really does. I don't know if you can hear it, but this is worth. And this is without. You might not hear a difference, but for me, it feels like it loses a lot of weight. It just ends up becoming, there's something missing. So that every time anything just goes a little bit below a level, or there's a bit of silence, that high end thing just keeps weird. I don't know what kind of mood it adds, but it just adds a vibe. So that's just a random trick that I picked up at some point. I don't know. Just a sign. And I know a lot of people throw that on their basses, and it's just, that's the drop. It's just the sub in that and some drums, and it's like. And there's another one. Here's another. That's just. I'll play it with. Very subtle in the background. Having said that, do the labels you release on usually master the tracks, or do you master yourself? The label usually masters them, depends, but I have had a lot of cases where I master them myself, and I'm still learning, really am. On to the next full. Woo! That is Operator. Just me messing around again. Operator is underrated for those of you that don't use it. So let me just show you each automation, messing around with the pitch of it all, the fine tuning of oscillator C, and the noise levels, or the volume of oscillators B and C. And that's where all of the grid comes from. So if I mess around with that, woo, sheesh, damn, bro. Hold up, my bad. You just I surprised myself. That's pretty nice. Yeah, just messing around with that, and then I'm using an auto filter, and then wow on it, just to add a little bit of pronunciation. And then my baby girl, back at it with convolution reverb. This is just to add some reverb on the drop, like when it goes whum. And then Valhalla Shimmer. That's just adding a bit of. You should get into Valhalla Shimmer. It's really really dope. So you can mess around with the size. Yeah, Valhalla Shimmer is pretty dope. And then, what am I using at the end? Oh, okay. So because everything has a tail and there's so much reverb and stuff at the end, I just use a high pass filter. Sorry, I always get the difference between the two mixed up. I use a low pass filter. No, it's a high pass. Sorry, I'm using a high pass filter to just chop off everything that's not supposed to be there. See, so if I take it away, wait. Oh, sorry, I'm just using the convolution reverb and turning off the channel. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. So that's how it sounds. Yeah. Under that, I have just another piece of audio from one of my sound design clips that I just chopped up and threw in. And then, Sweet Baby Girl. White noise. Never go wrong with white noise. That's just being channeled. And another bass that I chopped up from a sound design session that I did. That's from another, yes, this is the one I was like, woo! This is from a sound design session that I did at some point. So you can hear, it's just a bunch of stuff that I did. So it's just a bunch of sound, and I took that specific sound. I just put it. Yeah. These are all just basses that I do from sound design sessions. So I like doing specific sound design sessions where I make crazy basses and stuff. Because obviously I don't want to sometimes kill the creative process by sound designing when I want to producing when I want to sound design. Just separate the two, which a lot of people do. And this is from one of those sessions. I just chopped it up and used it. I feel like it fits like a glove. This is where that sound comes in, where it goes. It's the same sound, but it's just on beats mode, one shot, and octave up. It really adds that bounce to it, which I love. The feed. How do I like WoW 2? It's okay. Sorry. I don't use it as often as I should. No, not as often as I should. Don't worry. Not too much of an issue for me. It's not great, but it does when I want that level of pronunciation in my stuff. Great for that. It's just not a sound that I'm particularly always looking for. What is your go-to sound design plugins? Sound design plugins. Okay, well, if you're talking about VSTs, Serum, not as much. But yeah, Operator, Serum, Wavetable, a lot of native Ableton plugins. So I'll just mess around too. I'll just use sometimes Massive, Bengal sometimes, which is a Max for Live plugin. And then on effects is just OTT, distortion, isotope, trash, delays, all of that, everything, just getting disgusting with it. often do you dedicate sound design session versus how often do you focus on producing? With producing and sound design, I produce more than I sound design. I think probably for every 3 production sessions I do, I'll do 1 sound design session. Because I end up using those sounds a lot, because I create a lot when I sound design. Like 40 minutes to an hour to an hour and a half of just sounds, and then I'll go back and chop up the good ones and then use those for production for few sessions, maybe 1, 2, or 3, and then go back to sound design. It's normally by feel, but I do try to implement discipline in certain days where I do 3 production days a week, 2 sound design days a week, kind of thing. So production, sound design, production, sound design, production, kind of thing. Whatever works for you. So that is the body of it all. Bass, very simple. I was like, what is going on there? And I realized it was me. Bass is very simple. And you can hear it's busy popping because of the volume shaper. Apparently, one should steer away from using basses in Ableton. I mean, in Serum because of phasing issues. But yeah, I don't know. I used this one here because I wanted that hollow sound. This is just an EQ'd sound. Up below it, and I just split the frequencies so I could up the highs of the bass, and then I'm just automating the volume and the rate, so it's just some random basses, the normal hip-hop sub. FM Freak. I love hollow sine wave sounds, like harmonic, like the harmonic series wavetable in this. If you go to digital, harmonic morph, harmonic subtle, and harmonic series, is get those hollow bass sounds. There's 2 on top of each other, so it's making them clash, which may be the sound that I wanted. I don't know. So it's like maybe that's the sound I wanted. Very simple bass. Word, yeah, it's a dope Serum skin. I don't know. Just Google them, they're for free. Pretty much about the bass. I don't know if you guys have any more questions about the bass, let me know, but it's very simple, very straight to the point. Now, a drum. Just a very simple kick. I always glue compress my kicks, always, with a pretty low ratio, just to get more of a punch. But I'm not really pulling down the threshold here, I'm just putting up the makeup and off clipping it. Snare. I am using Ricky Snares, Ricky Sands. I'm just cutting off some of the low end and getting some of that tingy sound, and then cutting off low. A lot of I like thin sound. It's weird, but I like thin sounding drums. Becomes kind of an issue when I'm making sample packs and stuff, because people can get pretty, for good reason, used to or over the thin sound drums, the thin sounding drums, thick drums, which I get. But I don't know, in this case, I just like the way the thinness sounds. That's pretty much about it. Effects on them. I'm just widening and widening. I love widening my snares. with grain delay. I just mess with the frequency and spray this area. That's about it. And for that, excuse me, for that bouncy feel, I do apologize for yawning. My sleeping pattern is a bit messed up, but I'm fixing that, especially with the jet lag, because I just came back from the States, but less than a week ago. Anyway, the kick, I use a little bit of a popping kick on the snare, just for that bouncy feel. So just for more bounce, it adds a completely different dynamic. See, it adds more bounce. So without it, it's a bit more rappy. But I don't know, this adds more of a little, I don't know if dubstep can coin that kind of feel, but it's got that bounce. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Well, I've been on this project for really long. I will rush through it and then we can get started on the latest. What's that thing? The Division release. And most of you know that, a lot of my drums and everything have swing, and that is due to the track delay at the end on Ableton. If you don't use Ableton, simple, just don't quantize it at all. Ever. The only thing quantized here, the only things when it comes to the drop, I can bet money, are the kick and snare. Everything else is nudged forward. See if you can see my leads. 40 milliseconds, 50 milliseconds, 10, 20. This is not only because the original sound was moved forward, but yeah, delayed, track delay, nudged forward. That's what gets that swing and that groove and that vibe. You generally keep all tracks using the track delay on the same timing? No, they're all different because it adds more swing, that natural vibe. Because if everything is track delayed, then it is off, but it's still. It's cool, it has a vibe to it, but then you have like 0, 50, 30, 70, just adds more, Vamoosh feeling. That is pretty much about the drop. Normal bold. Just chopped and screwed some drums. Put on a saturator. See, the saturator's doing a lot. Yeah. That's the drop. I can show you the second drop, which is pretty much everything I've shown you now, just different structure. So it's just same thing I've done before, just chopped and screwed, same sound, just messing around with the structure of it. And everything else is the same that you've seen. Before I close this project, if anybody has any questions, ask them now or forever hold your peace. The sound. And then on my master, literally just, I used Endless Smile just to beef up the build. Endless Smile, for those of you that don't know, is Data Life's second plugin that just adds space to bold. It's kind of like a cheat code. But it is what it is. There's no rules. And then Pro Q3 just to show you. How long? This track, I know I formulated it by starting on the drop, so I was messing around with sound design. Either I started with the drums or this specific sound. I probably made that sound and I was like, ooh, that would be dope for a drop. And then I chopped it up and I was like, okay, I want that Christian-esque sound, so just chopped it up and did that, and then I made drums below it and I was like, ooh. So probably to get the general idea of the whole song a day, and then another day get the structure. But I take my time with a lot of releases and stuff just to listen to it, embody it, understand it, and not in a negative way, but sort of listen to it over and over until I don't like it, in a sense that I can improve. That's where your intuition comes in. Keep on building until there's a point where the song is never really finished. You're just like, this one's good to go. How long did it take? Okay, that's what I answered. What beat grid option do you normally produce on? Beat grid, probably 4/4, I guess. If you're talking about, no, there's no. Sorry, that's tempo. Never mind that. With the fixed grid, I change it all the time. Sometimes I'll turn it off. Sometimes but it differs. Obviously, the more you zoom in, it goes from 1/16 to 1/8 to 4 bars. There's no set grid that I work on. I always change it, obviously, for the feeling. So, good question. How do I keep everything on grid when it's delayed? Ableton has a nice feature on the right here called track delay. So everything is on beat, but the track delay just delays the track by a few milliseconds to give it that swing. That's how it's off beat but on beat. So as you can see here with the hi-hats, they on beat. See, they hit directly on the note, but it's at 70 milliseconds of a track delay. So without, I press with the metronome on, with the track delay, see, gives that roll to it. Alrighty, ladies and gents, let's get to release number 2, which dropped today, which is the Raid remix. Original done by my man's Tech Genesis. I'll play the song for you, for those of you that have not heard it yet. It is out today. Go stream it, show some love. This is it. Yeah, turning off the grid for hats for the natural swing is a very good idea, because it's more natural than just having it off beat. I don't know. Ooh, nice. Whoop, that is the song. Word, shout out Ivy Lab vibe. Yeah. So let's get into the project, and I use a lot of the original sounds. I can play the original for you guys if you guys want. Put a Y for yes, N for no. We don't have to go into it. But yeah, just the general stems. A lot of his amazing atmospheric sounds and grittiness of it. Just impact. Some nice Foley to fill it up. That's the nice thing about remixes sometimes. Like, a lot of the work is done already. Not in a lazy sense, just objectively, it's a remix. It's not, you didn't start it from scratch. That's the sound. I added my own little perks here, which is Ghost Tex, who's one of amazing producer, Garage producer. Added that. And then there's the original sound. Let me open up Spotify real quick. I'll find the original so you can understand how I changed it. So, ooh, that looks sexy. The raid sounds like this. And it's only 2 minutes because it's an interlude. I was concerned about remixing it because it was an interlude, but I was like, I'll make it a song, even though it is a song part of it. But I was just like, is it weird remixing an interlude? So if you listen to it, it's on the beginning. The flute is on the beginning of every bar or every, yeah. Boom, boom. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in its own right, it's dope on the song, but I felt like I wanted it, as Alex says there, the Ivy Lab feel of it is at the end of every bar. So it is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is very delayed for that effect. There's some drums. Oh no, it's not. It's just the sound I really slowed down and chopped and screwed. The original sound is... yeah, and then I just for more dynamics or more harmonics in the background. So I slowed it down. It's originally 180 and I made it 166. Amazing tempo. And this is what really brings the rhythm to the drop. And it originally sounds like this. And I just slowed it down, which brings that and just added some Foley. So I just took the original bass that is on the song, and I'll play it for you in its own right. Hold on, let me go to. So the original basses just sound like this. That's how it sounds. And I didn't want to use complex because complex messes up the transients of the sound, or what's the word? I'll say the integrity of the sound, because it has a really nice width to it anyway. So I kept warp off and put it down one semitone, and then just added my own bit of distortion. So that's just the bass, and then Sweet Baby White Noise, adding dynamic with a little bit of erosion. Another ting to bring out the vibe of the track, just another white noise that really adds impact. And this is a vocal that comes, which pretty much makes a lot of the drop.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Yeah. Just another bark that I made, sound design. What is this? Oh. And I just chopped it up and used Ubic G, which is amazing for messing with the grains and pitch of a sound. So dope. Yeah, white noise for that sizzle. What is this plugin? The first plugin. The plugin with the blue visuals on the side. Where did I open it up? Oh, Clamper. That is a distortion unit. It is a Max for Live plugin. I think you can buy it. Just type in Clamper with a K, Klamper, Max for Live. Amazing distortion unit. So simple, but just clean. And I'm using Ubic G again here to really mess with the integrity of the sound again. Simple but very effective. Bark on the drop just to add that. Yeah. Just an 808 together. And you can see here, I don't care about the grid at all. It's like 80 milliseconds delayed. So that on the drum, on the beat, it is. So it gets that vibe. If I put it on 0, it's going to sound absolutely disgusting. Just way too quantized for my. So with that, with the snare. So without quantize. And on grid. Yuck. No. Yes. So before we go into drums, it's really such a simple track, to be honest. It's just the bass that's so wide and fills it up so much that makes it so big. Sense. I've just got nitty gritty sounds in here, just like basses that I've made. I just really chopped and screwed, slowed it down. These are all from sound design session. This is what makes it. And then this dope ass vocal. together. But for me, that's a very chi vibe to it. That and this is where that rhythm comes in. The one that I was telling you that, where it just makes it so runny and rolly. So you'll hear without. I'll just play it without the bass. And then yeah, just a lot of delay, different sounds. There's that sound. What? Where are the vocals coming? Oof in it. Oh, this is just a bass that I made. Remember, from those sound design sessions. It's nice, that's why. In this case, I made this track. I finished this track in a day. I finished this track in like 4 hours. 5 hours. 6. Yeah, 6 hours. Because I had so much stuff. I had ideas for it, and I was like, okay, cool, just throw in sounds and see which work. And then this one was. Oh, you hear the vocals. It low-key sounds like me, but it isn't. It's weird. So this is just vocals with a delay. I suggest you guys should check out gvst.co.uk, these guys. It's all free. It's crazy. They've got pitch envelopes or pitch VSTs, like you can adjust the pitch of it all. They've got G-Clip, which is just a clipper that is amazing. So simple. You can really boost stuff with keeping the harmonics or keeping the integrity of the song to an extent. You lose. Yeah, www.gvst.co.uk. So many things, and it's all free. Yeah, and then just OTT and some grittiness on the vocals, which is what gives that. So yeah, I was with Chi for a while. We didn't make as much music as we thought we would, but we will release some stuff. That is the body. Now we can go to drums. Kick is very simple. One of my favorite kicks ever. Not playing right now. But it's just an Ozone Imager. I'm actually widening my kick, and I'm using Ozone Imager for that because it really maintains or retains the mono image of the kick. If you listen to it in mono, it doesn't take away anything from it. It just adds to it. So amazing. And it's free. Ozone Imager. Free. I'm using a transient shaper, KHS transient shaper, best transient shaper in the world. Blue compressing, just to add it up. And then I'm using an invisible limiter just to clip it. Snares. Hey, shout out Adrian for the plug. So this is just, as I said, I like thin sounding drums. So I take out a lot of the low end and boost up the resonance around 500 hertz. And this little snare here is adding some vibe. I am moving this one forward though. So it is 10 milliseconds of a delay, but I did put it off grid anyway. With percussion, let's see what happened. This is really what adds the, this is really adding the vibe to it. And that's 80 milliseconds delay. A nice bit of a shaker, which is just a white noise with the volume envelope. Just a bunch of different perks, so I can play just the percussion. So you'll see, I'll play the second drop. This is where a lot of it, all of the percussion comes into play, because it's not really a lot going on with the leads, it's just the drums that are going on a tangent. Sound. Just a very fast sound that I slow down. The drum. So you see my drums all over the place. That's what gets that swing. So the simple breakdown, and then the second drop, as you heard, sounds like. So in the beginning, you can remember that there was an 808 that was doing this. It's just an 808 that I put in front, which is one of my 808s actually. I just put it in front, and then I did the same, but on the same track here. This is another 808 from a sound design session that I did. Actually coming out on my Future Beats Volume 2 sample pack, which is coming out. So keep that in mind. Now I'm using Clamper here as well. Doesn't make too much of a difference, but it does add that grit. Using Ubik G again to mess around with scaling and what that's. Anyway, this is where the drums really come into play. You can hear if I take out the bass, it's just the drums doing most of the work, and then some sound design folds. So it's just that sound. You can hear it's just really, and it's 90 milliseconds delayed. Yo, Adrian, what plugin are you talking about? I can tell you, I just don't know which one you're talking about. How does it look? And yeah, I was playing shows and doing work in America, and then the Rona got in the way. Had me stuck in America for a while. But hey, it's an experience. History in the making. Yeah. So the drums, as you can see, a lot taken from the beginning. Yeah. Put in here. So really what's doing most of the work is just I added a top snare just for that harshness. Some grit at the low end or the below the snare. As opposed to the first one, it sounds like this. Very vibey, but the second drop is hard. They're very harsh. Yeah, that was the one I was talking about. The bass one is called Clamper, the Max for Live plugin. KLAMPER, Max for Live. It's pretty much about as much as I can show you without ending up being redundant. So, a little bit of a Q&A if you guys want. Sorry. Yeah. What do you guys have? Any questions for me? You guys want me to run over some stuff quickly? We've got about 5 minutes left, just less than 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Yeah. I've just layered a bunch of snares. One's from the Blake Skyron sample pack, another one's from Ghost Tech sample pack, that old, way back. My favorite sample pack. Can you showcase any IDs? What do I have? I don't know what I have. My DeBow and Bilo collab. So that's an unreleased track with Bilo and DeBow. gonna bring trap back 2020, but this Griztronics edit is actually a song, an unreleased track of mine that I was actually inspired by Craze to do. He did this, and I was like, I need to do that for my show. But yeah, it's just an unreleased track of mine that I used the drop of on the build of Griztronics.
Ooh, this shit be hitting different. Different, 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 different. Ooh, this shit be different, fucking different, 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 fucking different.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the track. I don't know when I'm going to release the song itself, though. Thanks, G. Okay, to answer the first question. Getting my American visa process I was blessed enough for it to be smooth. It was stressful, but it was smooth. Got a manager about a year ago, and him and I were just working at building a catalog. Pitched my catalog to Rogue when Rogue was still agency. I think they still are. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, disrespect. They still are. But I know a lot of them went to Madison now. Pitched me to Rogue. Rogue liked my profile. So there's always this thing that like this. Anyway, Rogue liked my profile. They took me under on their roster. Put me on the roster. My agent, Brent, from Rogue, moved to Madison House and took me with him. And from there, he got us in contact with Covey Law from New York, who helped me create a case for the petition for the visa. Visa got approved. Went to the interview. We got approved. Got my visa. Simple, stressful, lovely, beautiful, grateful. Do I ever use a sampler, simpler drum rack for drums? I used to. Not anymore. Never have I used one. No disrespect, but I haven't used one in years. I can honestly say years. So when using Operator, I love using the additive synthesis algorithm. Is it subtractive or additive algorithm? I don't know. The one that's on top of each other. Then everything you run through runs through that one. It just creates some crazy sounds. To mess with the levels, mess with the course, really mess with the wave shape. So like mess with a square wave bass, and oscillator A, oscillator B can be a sine wave, and then saw and whatever. Just experiment with that. But I like using the additive algorithm. Put 2 on top of each other or 10 on top of each other if you want. Yeah, it's pretty much, and then effects, of course. Everything you can. Can you talk about the structure? I start with my drops. I start with my drops all the time, and then I build the theme of the song around the drop. Used to, kind of still do struggle with intros and stuff. It's a bit of a different ball game. But I start with the drop, build an intro, and then a build, and then get that going and try to make that sound as coherent as possible. And then I start with the break, and then the outro. That's normally how I do my structuring of the song. Does the fact of having the elements of your tracks off grid affect when you beat matching DJ? Not at all. It's fun actually sometimes, but yeah, sometimes I can find myself having. It sounds on beat, but it's still off beat because of the quantizing or the non-quantization, quantity, whatever the word is, of that. So it can affect it, but it doesn't affect me too much when I'm DJing. It's all about feel. If you feel it and it's on beat, then you Gucci. But I do that stuff on the fly, especially if I'm changing BPMs and going up and down. The kick it's always on beat because the song has to be on beat, but the kick is always on beat, or some aspects are on beat. I'd listen to that feel of it. But yeah, pretty much that's about it. Yeah, I think that's it. Pretty much, we've reached an hour and a half. I really do appreciate all of you. Appreciate the love and the support, and just being here on this live stream. Keep in touch. Follow me on socials if you don't. John Casey Beats on Instagram, Casey Beats on Twitter, John Casey on Facebook, John Casey on SoundCloud. Check out that new remix, repost, share it with your friends, all of that. Thank you guys for coming through, for real. It really means a lot. Yeah. Best. Much love to you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. Wash your hands. Real. Dang.